Coming up next, we're going to talk what it's like dating in DC.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vore podcast, Way She Goes Podcast Network. We are here in person for the first time since the 80s, I think. But we are here with a very special guest, founder of the collective, Veronica Droulia, out here for Arizona Fashion Week here in Scottsdale.
Yes.
How about this? A non-virtual, a real handshake. How about that?
Handshake, no emojis.
That's right. We are bringing the in-person game back to the podcast game. So,
exactly.
Well, thank you. Welcome to Arizona.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. So
exciting.
Yeah, so good to have you. Let's just start right off the bat with your brand, the collective. Tell me, I know you started with a couple of childhood friends. Mm-hmm. Tell me, why the name, how it got started, why go into business with them, how you even go from the idea to actually executing this and actually starting a brand. So just give me the whole rundown.
Yeah, well, it's so funny because it honestly is such a long story. It starts from whenever we were literally in the first grade. So I went to an elementary school in New Orleans, and I went to the same school as my now co-founders. But we basically were Hurricane Katrina babies. So we all lived in New Orleans before 2005, whenever Hurricane Katrina hit, and had to evacuate. A lot of our houses were destroyed. And crazy enough, my co-founders, Ben and Carter, we actually all evacuated to the same elementary school.
Oh, wow.
So it was 2 hours away, but still that was kind of unheard of, especially because we all went to the same school. We were in the same neighborhood. Our parents all knew each other. And we didn't have phones back then, I don't even,
old school.
Yeah, it was you just, as kids, we definitely didn't have them. So, we just kind of all showed up one day, at this new place, at this new school. And it honestly made it so much easier because there was a lot of familiar faces for me. And it was kind of a hard time, as a kid, making that transition. But anyway, so what happens usually within a refugee's timeline is a lot of people will go home or a lot of people will stay. So I ended up staying in Lafayette with my mom, and Carter and Ben went back to New Orleans. And as time went on, we just kind of all lost touch. And I actually ended up going to high school with Ben, but after college and all that, life gets in the way. You don't really get to see everybody as much, and we kind of just lost touch.
Right.
But in 2019, I was working for New York Fashion Week and LA Fashion Week. I was working with a startup brand, and I was doing their influencer management, and also it was so funny. It was three straight men that had never been in the fashion industry before.
Whoa.
They are amazing people. They started this martial arts studio in DC and then went to create this streetwear brand. But, not having much experience in the space, it can be really intimidating. And
yeah, it sounds like the Sex and the City episode I watched last night.
Oh my gosh, no, it literally was that. And I was the only woman on the team, and it's a lot of learning curves when it comes to runways and stuff. You're dressing the models and making sure that they're fitted in their stuff, and it's a lot of hands-on work. And I kind of stepped up to the plate and had to do that stuff. So I think from there I was wait, I could probably do this myself.
Yeah.
But I kind of always had that in the back of my head. I wanted to start something. And then during COVID, I get a text from Ben saying hey, Veronica, we have this super cool idea. Would you want to hop on a Zoom call? But I had reconnected with Ben right before, because I got him into New York Fashion Week he had this slipper company. It was a slides company.
Yeah.
So he had that experience owning his own brand, and he just learned so much. Carter was actually a model. He's a Ford model. He went to Milan Fashion Week. So we were all kind of doing our own different things within the fashion industry. But Ben went to New York Fashion Week, and I guess we kind of got on the conversation of being in the industry and making those connections. So he got me on a Zoom call and was Veronica, we have this really cool idea. So we want to start this animal print-based clothing line and give proceeds back to endangered species. And I was that sounds so cool. But how crazy is it that we all reconnected after so long?
Right.
And why don't we start local and then go global? Let's do the animal print designs, start with swimwear, and because it was like just like really booming at the time.
Yeah.
And it is like just a really great way to kind of branch off into other things. But let's give back to the New Orleans community and do nature organizations and natural disaster relief, and then we can grow from there. So our name stands for Nature's Own Art.
Love
it's kind of a play on words too for like NOLA and Noah's Ark. So it's been super fun just kind of like thinking about all the details and putting it together and working with childhood friends. Like, it's amazing that we reconnected.
Yeah, that really is crazy. And like you talked about, I mean, being so young and going through all that together, I mean, I think that makes you even tighter than you would have been.
For sure. Such a full circle moment. And it's so funny because in Miami this year, we actually went to Miami Swim Week. We did a pop-up shop there. But at dinner one night, we put together that Carter's dad actually introduced my mom and my stepdad.
Whoa!
So it's like really such a full circle moment. Like, there's so many connections.
Yeah.
So it's so funny.
More to happen.
Yeah, way more to happen, you know? So I'm excited for, you know, the future. And I think being in Arizona and Scottsdale, having the brand exposure here has been awesome. So I'm excited for the runway on Friday.
No, that's super exciting. But I want to talk a little bit more about New Orleans.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like I was telling you, I've been once, Mardi Gras, absolutely love it. New Orleans, just the food, the culture, the people. It's one of the very few places in the U.S. where you don't feel like you're in the U.S.
Exactly.
It is so different. It's so cool. But like you mentioned, Katrina there, you could definitely tell there were some places that are still recovering, some places that it doesn't seem like maybe it will ever happen. But the spirit and everything is, you know, as strong. You know, you put it up against anywhere. You know, you live in DC now.
Mm-hmm.
I know you mentioned one of your business partners is out here in Scottsdale. But you know, what can you just talk about what it is? Not only just home.
Yeah, to be from New Orleans.
And that pride, but you know, to be from New Orleans, go through all of that and start there locally and continue to give back.
Yeah, for sure.
With your brand.
Yeah, well, it's so funny that you mentioned that because I think a lot of people don't realize how much resiliency goes into that city. Also, like the whole state. Like, I can remember from being like maybe like 5 years old and having to evacuate for like hurricanes and like tropical storms, and it was just like normal life to me. I didn't realize that nobody else went through that if they didn't live in Louisiana. And I think it definitely is ingrained into you from a very young age, but New Orleans is below sea level, so it's always going to have, you know, natural disasters, and it's going to be like super detrimental most of the time. Thankfully, there hasn't been like a super severe one in New Orleans recently. We had Hurricane Ida last year, and that was actually whenever we were launching Noah. So it's actually about to be our 1 year anniversary.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But basically we wanted to launch and then Hurricane Ida hit. So we manufacture all of our pieces out of New Orleans, and we are the first New Orleans made swimwear brand.
Wow.
So it's completely sustainable, and there's like so much that goes into it, and it really is a lengthy process. So our production got cut because New Orleans lost electricity for weeks. And we kind of wanted to adapt with that and use it as like a positive thing to give back to the city. So not only do we partner with charitable organizations for our collections, but we also are just spokespeople for different things that are going on and ways to donate, and just on social media, like being super like just excited about having the possibility to give back and have that impact. And I think it's really, really refreshing for a lot of people to see a brand that is like built on community. But we ended up changing our line completely after that. We were like, let's do the most like resilient animals we can think of.
Yeah.
And let's give back to an organization that's helping after Hurricane Ida relief. So we partnered with the Take Pause Rescue for our first launch, and they actually helped pets that were displaced during the storm find their forever homes, because that's like super common after storms. Like, people will leave their pets behind, or they'll get lost and they're just like roaming around the city. So that was our first charitable partner, and you know, we've just been looking for like really cool organizations since then. We're partnered with Glass Half Full right now, another full circle moment. my friend Fran actually went to the school that we all evacuated to. So she started the first glass recycling facility out of New Orleans with her business partner, Max. And they created like this, like, I don't even know what it's called. It's this like machine that converts recycled glass into sand.
Oh, wow.
And it was like this small little device that they had at a frat house at Tulane. And now it's this huge thing because Louisiana actually loses 100 yards every hour to coastal erosion.
Wow.
A football field every 100 minutes to coastal erosion.
Wow.
I'm getting my facts straight.
There you go.
So they're actually helping so much because I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but Louisiana's marshes make up about 80% of the world's oxygen. So if we don't have those marshlands, then like, we're just kind of fucked.
There's issues, yeah.
Yeah, so
we are fucked.
No, like actually. So like all of our faith is like on New Orleans and Louisiana, so that's honestly a scary thought. Yeah. Because it's a crazy place. You've been,
I've been.
But
how'd you get those beads?
Exactly.
Can't say.
Exactly. You can't say. I'm like looking. I'm like, where are they?
Yeah. Are they up there? Where
PTSD.
are they at? That's right. Grenades. The grenades.
Yeah. So it's just a super fun place
Yeah.
filled with so many characters, and art is such a big part of it. And we wanted to be able to put like an artistic just value onto fashion. And, New Orleans is a very fashionable place. Lots of characters, lots of bright colors, Mardi Gras, like the beautiful costumes. But I don't think the fashion industry really has that much of a like prominence in New Orleans. So we were like, let's do it ourselves. So it's been super fun.
So as we mentioned at the top, you're in town for Arizona Fashion Week.
Yes.
So I've never been to or around. I know nothing about these events. So just tell me why is it such a big deal that you are here with your brand? Is this for marketing, collaboration opportunities? I mean, what all goes, networking, what all goes on at these events, and why is it so important for you and your brand to have a presence here?
Yeah, so my business partner Carter is actually based here. We just did DC Swim Week, which I feel like every time I say that, everybody's like, DC has a swim week. Yeah. But it was amazing, and it was a great way for me to kind of just introduce my baby to DC. So my assistant Sam is actually based here. She works with an amazing organization called Lux in the City. They have a creative council here in Arizona where they have a lot of events and fashion shows and like really cool stuff. So she kind of got us involved with them, and we were like, let's do it. They invited us here for free and just wanted us to be a part of this experience. It's the first official Arizona Fashion Week. Yeah. So it's really exciting. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for us to see what it's like and just kind of get our presence out here, all over, because of course we wanted to start with Louisiana, but now it's just our time to grow and expand and, get our name out there. So.
For sure. And one of the ways you're doing that, let's talk about Idris Ballou, who is your face, your personality of the men's line, who is a friend of this program. So why him? What's it been like working on him? Why was he the guy for this face and this personality of your brand on the rise?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we started in Miami for our runway shows. We went to Miami swim week to look at all this this year during the summer, and it was so funny. I sat front row with Idris and Haley, if you know Haley,
of course,
Craig,
another friend of the show.
Yes.
Everyone's been on this show.
I love it.
I love
it. It's like a little fam.
It is a family.
But I sat next to Craig, and it was so funny. There were so many designers that went, and we were just talking each other's ear off. We had so much in common.
Craig never talks.
Yes, we had so much in common. He lived in DC. He also lived in New Orleans. He mentioned Channing Tatum, and I love Channing. He has the bar in New Orleans, so Saints and Sinners, I believe, but so fun. Anyway, we just could not stop talking, and I had a conversation with Idris and Haley and told them all about Noah, and they were so enthusiastic about it. And I think that's what our biggest thing is we want people that are enthusiastic about our story, about our mission. And there's a lot of people out there that are all about profit and if the most high profile celebrity is wearing this stuff, we don't really care about that stuff. we want people that really see us for what we are, hear our story, and like want to wear the story. And Idris was just like so hyped from the beginning, and he's like so young, so successful. And I think like having that younger generation involved with this is so important, especially because now, not that, you know, Hurricane Katrina is like the only thing that brought us together, but there's so many people that don't even like know about that event, especially like kids now. Like they aren't even aware of, you know, all the natural disasters that are going on in the world, and having that educational like outlet is so important. And I think he's a really great spokesperson for that reason.
100%.
Also, I was not doing half the shit that he was doing at his age. Like, I was like, yes. So I'm like just so impressed with him. Like, super hardworking, super motivated, and I think he's just gonna go so far. He already is. So
yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about some of the other things that you do. I know you yourself are a personality. All your food, lifestyle, and business recommendations.
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask a New Orleans question because I forget what the name of it was.
Yeah, let's talk all about New Orleans.
But I went to
I love it.
Very famous po' boy place, you know, wherever, you know, the line's 5 miles long.
Was it Don Malisi's?
There's a picture of Obama at the front. You know, whatever place that is, it was amazing. But can we do a secret, maybe some hidden gems that maybe people don't know as much about, the locals do, but maybe the tourist people don't? I mean, like when I go, because I'm going to go back.
Yes.
And I want to feast, because here in Phoenix we have good places, but we aren't like a New Orleans, a New York, and LA. But we're not. I don't feel like we're like a food city. We're not known for that. We have good places, but we don't have like, you know, like marquee places. And obviously New Orleans has their own special flavor. So what are some of your favorite places down there?
Yeah, I get a lot of that like Southwestern vibe here. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, like I've had like a lot of like breakfast burritos.
Yes.
And like I love like spicy
Which
food
is great.
and stuff like that. And I think that's like a good reflection of Louisiana food as well. But I think a big misconception is people think New Orleans is only good for like French Creole, like Cajun cuisine, seafood.
Yep.
It has so many other cuisines that are just as fabulous, and I think it's because a lot of the top chefs will go to New Orleans and start their own restaurants. Yeah. But I am such a spicy food person, so I know a lot of people don't like spicy, but I need like my mouth to be on fire at all times.
Oh, really?
And I actually just started doing these like hot sauce reviews on my Instagram stories, and people are like so involved with it.
So you could just murder hot ones, is what you're saying.
Yes, like no I will drench Tabasco on everything, like no shame.
I'm a Frank's Red Hot and Cholula guy.
Yes.
You know what my favorite Tabasco is? Because here we go, now we're doing a Tabasco deep dive.
Okay.
I like the original's okay, but I love like the darker one, like the Chipotle, whatever it is.
They have jalapeno, Chipotle. They have like 100 different flavors.
When I go to Chipotle and get my burrito, I will sit there with the Chipotle one and give little dabs with every bite, and it's the best.
It's so good. And you're just like sweating at the end, and you're like, this is amazing.
Oh, it's great. It's like a workout.
I
just did hot yoga.
Exactly. Also, did you know that spicy foods actually give you more endorphins?
I didn't, but I'm going to start saying
I think that's why I'm so happy.
Yes. Same here. I love it.
But yeah, New Orleans has so many hidden gems, and like obviously like the spice factor is a thing, but I think people that create like Cajun restaurants in other cities, it's usually like not up to par, because a lot of people are, you know, trying to make it more condensed to people that aren't like accumulated to that spice level. So, you know, it's not spicy enough for like people that are actually Cajun that like want to go to these places and these like cities that they're living now. But then, you know, the people that aren't Cajun that go to these places, it's just like, you know, they're not interested in eating that type of food. So I think it's interesting to see how like Cajun restaurants do outside of Louisiana, but New Orleans has some of the best restaurants and like just like bar scene, like dive bar, but also like super nice, like really like aesthetically pleasing places now. Like they're really booming. But one of my favorite places, my childhood friend actually just brought me here, is Hotel St. Vincent. Okay. It's this beautiful hotel on Magazine Street, and like the decor is just amazing. It's giving like American Horror Story, like Coven vibes, kind of like the inside, like it looks haunted, but it's super nice. They have this Italian restaurant, really nice bar, and then they also have this Vietnamese place called Elizabeth's right outside. There's like neon lights everywhere. Beautiful pool. I would love to have like a Noah shoot there one day.
Yes.
But that place is really good, like if you want to like go impress somebody. But then Stein's Deli. So it's this little Jewish deli on Magazine. All the best places are on Magazine, in my opinion. I think people will go to like Bourbon Street, and obviously it's so good to see that, but people will spend their entire trip on Bourbon, and I'm like, there's so many other like parts of the city to see. And so Stein's, it was this attorney that moved from New York to New Orleans. And he decided that he didn't want to do law anymore. He was like, I want to open up a Jewish deli in New Orleans.
Wow.
So he just like left his career, started this like little dive Jewish deli on Magazine Street. And it is one of the best Jewish delis I've been to in the entire country. It's so good. All of the sandwiches are amazing. The Sam, the Dan, it's like all named after names. It's so funny. But yeah, they have like, there's not a lot of places to sit, so it's one of those places you kind of have to like stand in line for. Yeah. But it's very good, and not a lot of people know about it. But Cafe Degas, one of my favorite brunch places. It's on Esplanade, so it's kind of like out of like the touristy area, but also amazing. And then there's some incredible barbecue in New Orleans. But yeah, anytime you need a recommendation, let me know. I can give you a specific one.
I love all of this.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's weird because I'm not. Like, while I'm here, I'm not a foodie person. I cook for myself. I eat pretty much the same thing every day. But I go somewhere, and I'm like, I just throw myself into, like, wherever I'm at. I'm like, all food morals out the window. Like, I'm just going to party.
Oh, no, same. Every single time I eat, though, I, like, black out. I was like, because I, like, get, like, I love food. So, like, I'm kind of a little different in that sense. Like, I literally am like, this is the best moment of my life. I, like, scarf it up. But I'm, like, a huge dirty martini girl. Yeah. So, I actually always, like, post different dirty martinis that I go and try. And I, like, kind of, like, I don't rate them necessarily, but I'll only post about it if they're good. I'm like super particular about it. I'm like, I need extra olives.
Where do you have one of your most memorable dirty martinis?
I actually had a really good one here.
Yeah, I have a friend, she's in San Diego now, but one time we went out and she loves a dirty martini. Oh, yeah. And a lot of good spots around here for that.
Yeah, so I'm like such a sucker for blue cheese stuffed olives.
Okay.
Like if you don't have them, I'm not ordering it. Yeah. Because I want it to be like a meal, like an experience almost, like an appetizer. Yeah. So I had one at Francine last night.
Good spot.
In Fashion Square. Yeah. My assistant Sam had never been, and she's doing some work with them, so she was like, let's go. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Yeah. So we went, and it was delicious. It was amazing, but yeah, I'm like such a sucker and a snob for dirty martinis. Yeah. So anytime I'm eating anywhere, I'll have that, and then like I black out even more. Yeah. I'm kidding, I don't actually, but sometimes we'll see.
It's really funny you say that, because literally this morning I've been so good with my nutrition. I've been nailing it every day. But this morning I had to go to the grocery store to get some things, and I was really just hankering for like some chicken wings or something. Mm-hmm. And it's like 10 in the morning or something. Mm-hmm. And I just went and got some. I came home, I pounded it, I had some ice cream, and I literally took the most intense 45-minute nap I've ever had in my life. And I was dreaming, and within the dream, I was also sleeping and dreaming, like total inception moment going on. And like when I got like jump scared awake in my dream, but myself was still awake, and like my vision went from like dark until a little bit light. So it was like almost like a layer of me sleeping went away, and it was all because I've been eating so well, and then I just gave myself carbs for the first time in a week, and and then I woke up and I was like disoriented. I'm like, but that was also amazing. Yeah. So I totally get the food blackout. It happened to me today.
Oh my gosh, no, and I'm such like a sucker for, just having fun and eating whatever you want, but at the same time, like I'm super health oriented. Yeah. I think balance is really important.
No doubt.
Maybe your body just needed some wings and some sleep,
It was telling me, and you know what? That's the good thing about like nailing it, because when your body is now, if you've had it 4 days in a row and you're just telling yourself, oh, my body's saying I need ice cream, it's like, no, probably not. I think you just are a little undisciplined.
Yeah.
But when you're disciplined and you can let yourself listen to your body and you don't feel bad about it after and you get right back to it, then I think that's the balance. That's super important. But
intuitive eating is like so big, and as somebody that eats out like multiple times a week because of my job, you know, I go to a lot of DC restaurants, and they'll host
DC's
me.
a pretty good food city, right?
Great
too.
food,
Yeah.
great food. A lot of like multicultural, like just establishments, which is really great. So I've really enjoyed kind of going from like the Louisiana scene to DC and kind of giving my like perspective on the two. So it's been great, but yeah, so like I eat out most of the time. So whenever I'm home, I'm like super diligent about just like having like super like clean ingredients and just like treating my body well, but not restricting myself at the same time. So like if you want wings, like get yourself some wings. Because what you're gonna end up doing is like just overdoing it later on, going through a little binge. Maybe.
Been through that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, so that's great that you're like so like involved with, you know, just conscious eating and, you know, all that. I think it's like super fascinating.
Yeah, no, for sure. And this is obviously a very health forward place out here. And, you know, it's nice. You can be outside all year round. I mean, the summer stinks, but hey, you grew up in the humidity south, so
yeah. Well, it's so different here. It's like dry and hot, right? Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So, man, now I'm hungry. Might have to double up on the wings now.
Have some hot sauce. I think.
I've been eyeing that hot sauce back there. What is that back there?
Louisiana hot sauce.
Oh, okay. That's good stuff.
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10?
It's not great.
Okay.
It's not spicy enough for me.
Okay.
But that's just like my 2 cents. You need a lot of it to like do the trick.
Okay.
So that's my only reason for not giving it a great review.
I like it. Okay. Well, hey, Veronica, this has been a pleasure.
It's been amazing.
I thank you so much for taking the time. I'll be at some stuff this weekend, so I'm sure I'll see you around.
I'm so excited.
I'll definitely meet up with you and Idris and everybody else. But I can't thank you enough for taking the time, and best of luck with all this stuff. I think you're doing, you know, really, really great stuff. I love the story behind it. I think it's great.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. It's been super fun. Just like building something from the ground up with, you know, people that also can resonate with the story, and we can kind of build something beautiful on top of like something that was like so traumatic and scary for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to be like a refuge for people that want to express themselves from a creative aspect, but also just, you know, represent New Orleans and people that have been through hardships. And whenever you wear our stuff, we want you to remember that you can get through anything with your community behind you. So
I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we're going to talk what it's like dating in DC.
Oh, God. Oh, no. I knew we were going to get on to that.
Oh, my God.